We're 7 o'clock. We're good? We're live? Okay, good evening. Welcome to our City Council meeting for Wednesday, May 22nd. We will jump right in tonight with a Pledge of Allegiance by Bryce Terry.
Please rise and join with me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bryce. Jump to item 4.2, City Council comments and recognitions. You want to start, Teddy?
Sure. Let's do the fun one first. And she's here, Miss Courtney Smithson. She is an amazing educator, and she got a reward this year, or an achievement, a recognition from being the Utah Outstanding Elementary Teacher of the Year. She got honored to go to the Bees game and get a presentation as well. I've been in Mrs. Courtney's classroom a couple times, twice in disguise, I believe, right? Yeah. And impersonating the big red man. But these are words from the assistant principal, and every admin loves you there. So, as you already know that. It was a little bit of a crazy day today when I picked this up, as there was a lot going on, but your admin made sure I had enough information to make you embarrassed. I'll leave off a lot of the stuff, but she says, one of your greatest strengths is your ability to create a creative and positive classroom in the community. And it shows how you care deeply for the students and you help them. And you just don't do this during school year or before your kids get there. You actually start building the interest in their struggles and their likes and dislikes and strengths, and you get to know your kids before they're in front of you, which is amazing. She also mentioned that even after hours during the school year, you're at dances and plays and recitals, and I know my little girl's teacher does that, and it means the world to them just to see them outside the classroom. And then you're always the first to volunteer for anything at the district or school level, and it bodes well. And with what I've seen you do, and with your young family, and just the amazing things around the community, then every time your name pops up, it's awesome. So when I saw you got this reward, I wanted to make sure that we recognized you as an awesome part to our community. So we appreciate you. With you.
Let me take one first.
Look at Mitch first.
That's good. Right here.
And now here. Pause. Okay. Do you want the rest of your family, your boys? Mom. Yes, more for snacks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being here, Courtney, for what you do, and to your husband, too, for his service, too. So. Okay. Any other recognitions at this point. You got another one? I've got,
Yeah, so last night, I guess they can be in the next report, so no, I think I'm good.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to recognize it is Public Works Week and Building Safety Month. So hats off to everybody in our team involved with that department and all they do. I think we've got the best in that department as well. We were just saying this week we were just talking down at ICSC how I think we've got a pretty amazing team right now, top to bottom. And so it's just nice to, as a council, to be focused on the big picture stuff, which we've been able to, and know that that stuff is just functioning. We don't have to, so truly thank you to everybody that's here. Monty, if you could pass that on to everybody there. And then to our Parks Department, the planners around City Hall are looking fantastic. They look really good, so just shout out to our Parks Department for their work out there. So yeah. Anything else at this point? Okay. We'll go to item 5 for public comment. At this point, audience members may bring any item within the city's purview to the city council's attention. Comments will be limited to 2 minutes. State law prohibits the council from acting on items that do not appear on the agenda. Public comments for this meeting will also be conducted electronically. Any person interested in addressing the council may submit a comment by emailing recorder@herriman.org or by visiting herriman.org/agendas and minutes, where there's a link to fill out an online public comment form. Your statement will be incorporated into the public record. And I will say, if you're here to comment on the on the budget, there's going to be a separate hearing for that. So we would ask that you have your comment, make your comments, Steve, during that portion. So at this point, if it's not related to that, we'll look for any public comment. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our city council reports. Teddy?
So I had the pleasure, Kyle, to sit through a bond issuing for our sewer board this week. It is very intense. Not only the actual calls and seeing what's going through, but the pre and the print and post meetings. And so the sewer bond, we did pull out quite a bit of money for large projects coming up. And so you'll see that coming up shortly. I'll have more to report later once we meet this month, next week. I did have the opportunity to visit Providence Hall and award one of our recipients of the Thomas Butterfield Scholarship, which was amazing. And sitting through their senior achievement night and seeing all the ribbons and tassels and medals, and some individuals did an amazing job. We have some amazing students out there. Some of the brightest kids, I think, are in this community. I'm sure every parent thinks that as well. But our schools are doing some outstanding jobs and turning out some excellent students. And so that was a really fun thing to do. I got to take my wife, and that's kind of the part she misses from being an educator, seeing the enjoyment in those kids just achieve. And so it brought back some good memories for her. But I think that was it. I believe it was Saturday morning, we got to go to the junior ROTC up at Butterfield. They did flag retirements and taught us flag etiquette. Lots of things I thought I knew, and having these teenagers teach us on parade etiquette on flags and saluting and all the little things that you think you know, but you don't until you revisit that. So it was very educational. Sergeant Wilson? Yeah, Sergeant Wilson's doing a good job there at Herriman. And he's running a good program. It was fun to see the rodeo bleachers and all that set up already for this next weekend, and so super excited about that. But yeah, it was fun to see that park in that area be utilized for those events.
Thank you. Sherry?
A couple of weekends ago, on the 11th, we were able to participate with the Youth Council for the highway cleanup. So that was a great activity that our Youth Council does, just cleaning up trash and debris along the Mountain View corridor. We have a section from JCW is on down to 134th. So the kids showed up and did a great job doing the highway cleanup. I just really appreciate their efforts in helping keep our community clean. And then my garbage board meeting, I missed yesterday because we were attending ICSC in Las Vegas, which is a conference for development, commercial development conference that the mayor and I and Blake and Sandra were able to attend, and just really trying to further our economic development in our community and help participate and bring good partners to our community to increase our services, increase our tax revenue, and just balance out the needs in our community.
Perfect. Thank you. The only additional comment I had was, in addition to Teddy, your one scholarship, I was able to attend Mountain Ridge High's awards banquet, a senior awards banquet, and was able to award 3 scholarships to Rissa Mosier, Malia Height, and Chloe. Stop. Took me a minute. So 3 deserving young ladies for their service in the community. So had a couple other meetings, but nothing significant going on in those yet. So more to come. So, okay. We'll move on to our one public hearing of the night. Item 8.1, a public hearing to receive public comment on the tentative fiscal years of 2025 and 2026 City of Herriman operating and capital budgets. Kyle, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. And while the presentation is coming up, Councilmember Hodges, we will put you on the pricing committee for the next bond. But you are right, it's a very intensive and stressful process. That's why we hired the experts to help us, because if we had to do it alone, it would not be fun.
It's fun when you learn like yields are up or good, but markets down's not, and like all the nomenclature. So yeah, having those experts is a lot.
And it literally can be a day, depending on what your interest rate is. It could be one thing one day, and you go to price, and it's something completely different. So.
And then reports come out one way or the other way, and then you got. It's never a good time to go to bond, but when you do, it's the day you have to go.
Right.
So, yeah. No elevator music though either. I did joke with Riverton elected officials that we clean up their side of the road too.
Nice.
So.
So tonight I just wanted to, last meeting we went over a very broad overview of the budget. I wanted to focus tonight on the general fund and just go through a few slides. All of the information is on herriman.org. It's right on the front page. Our communications team has done a great job putting that right in front. You can click on one link. It will show you every work session we've had since January and also the tentative budget there. So there's a lot of information there if you want more additional information on anything. And helps if I turn it on. So first, on the general fund, I just wanted to go over our revenues a little bit. These numbers are a little, the comparison numbers are a little different. I've gone through and done a complete evaluation of our current fiscal year 24 revenues and made some adjustments that you as a council will see next meeting when we do budget amendments. But overall, looking at what we're expecting for 24 versus what we've budgeted for 25, it's actually a flat revenue picture. In 24, we've been lucky and received a little bit more Class C road funds. That's the gas tax, more than we were anticipating. So between that and that's really what made it flat compared with the 2% that the tentative budget shows. Taxes, so that includes sales and property tax and our franchise taxes. We are only anticipating those going up 2%. We've mentioned this multiple times, but the sales tax picture is it's very not stable right now. So one month will be up double digits, next will be down single digits. Up, it's just been up and down. So we've tried to be very conservative, so we don't have to come back and look at ways to cut. So we've been very conservative. And then interest income, once again on that conservative approach, even though interest rates are relatively high and we're earning quite a bit on our money. It's better than when we were earning like 0.05% on our idle funds. We are anticipating that there will be rate cuts in the future, so we've already started to build that into the budget. On the expenditure side, I do like to show that 41% of our budget is personnel, so we are a very personnel-driven organization. Of course, we're always looking for efficiencies and looking for ways for technology and other ways to improve our need for personnel, but we do need personnel. I like to say, at least right now, we can't have robots as police officers yet. Might come in the future, but there's a lot of positions that do require human labor on that. Our operating funds are about 32% of our total budget. As you can see, we also transfer money out to other funds, so I like to use the analogy is that a fund is like a checkbook, so we have different checkbooks. For example, the amount you pay for water is in a separate checkbook, and we'll transfer money between funds. That actually decreased about $3.2 million, what we're planning on transferring to other funds. One major thing is we were paying a debt service payment on a piece of land for a possible future public works property. That bond is paid off in '24, so that is a lot of the decrease. 26 is not much huge change, other than I will note on the personnel, we have built in a COLA. However, we will come back to the council next year to determine what we should actually give, and we'll need to look at market conditions at the time. But we are also expecting an insurance increase. We were fortunate this year, we only had a 1% rate increase on our insurance. I don't think we'll be that lucky next year, so we do build in an increase. And then there are certain of our retirement funds that we are anticipating there will be an increase on. An operating increase of $1 million or 11%. As we'll get to the next slide, the majority of that is going to the streets department, so we are prioritizing pavement management and preserving our road infrastructure. And then the transfers are showing a decrease, and a lot of that is we have a lot of capital projects in both years, but there are more in 25 versus 26. I thought I would show 25 versus 26 by each department. So as you can see, Public Works does have the largest increase between the 2 years of 13%. As I had mentioned previously, a lot of that is for pavement management and street maintenance. Definitely investing more funds into that, especially as the city grows and we add more lane miles, that's important. Parks and Cemeteries also seeing an increase of 5%, largely due to labor. However, they do have some contracts, such as our mowing contract, that have increases that are built into the contract. And then Administrative Services, which is a relatively small department, is seeing a 9% increase, and the reason for that is in fiscal year 26, there will be an election, so that does add some considerable expense to Salt Lake County for that. With that, I did want to highlight police just really quickly. So as you can see, the police department, the majority or 93% of their revenue comes from the Herriman City Safety Enforcement Area, which is property tax dedicated solely for public safety. They do have some charges for services, so they do, for example, when they do overtime shifts for different entities, we do bill them for that, and they remit payment back to us. When we do have some small grant amounts, for example, our victim advocate, part of her salary is paid for by a grant. And then on the expenditure side, going back to cops aren't robots yet, 83% of their expenditures are personnel. As you can see, operating is only 15%, so personnel really is the bulk of their expenditures for them. And finally, we had a very lengthy capital project discussion in the work session, but I thought I would highlight what I'm calling the top 5 capital projects. Top 5 meaning they're the highest cost. So as you can see, 6400 West and Hidden Oaks open space improvements, 6000 West Road widening phase 1, additional improvements to our Juniper Canyon Recreation Area and Creek Ridge Regional Park improvements. Highlight the 25 top projects, and then in 26, 7300 West Extension, which we were fortunate enough to get a state grant for at $7.5 million. The grant is more than that. 64th West Improvements Phase 2. We are planning in 26 to replace Fire Station 103. widening of 118 South, and an open space corridor for Creekwood, which we are required to put in. And with that, are there any questions for me before the public hearing?
Sounds like we've been through quite a few times. Thank you, Kyle. Okay, well, at this point, we will open the public hearing. So if you have any comments on this item, feel free to come forward at this time.
Minutes. Oh, man. Can I hit reset? Hi, my name is Steve Schlesinger. I'm a Herriman City resident. I live out in the South Hills over here. I just want to say that I appreciate you all being very transparent with your budget. It's been out for a few weeks. I did publish it on the Herriman Happenings page, which is 20,000 plus people. You can see we have a huge crowd here tonight, but there's people here. I feel sorry for them, to be honest with you. I will put something out there tomorrow saying this. I do appreciate Kyle. I appreciate your getting back to me quickly. Sherry, Lauren, and then it's, Steve Shields, who's not here. I do appreciate all the support that you've given us to see the information. And unfortunately, I didn't get through all the budget like I was hoping to. And I'll talk with Kyle directly off-site. Wendy, I think you need to get triple your budget because I think the Parks and Recs need to be. We're good.
Steve, don't encourage her. Don't encourage her.
So thank you again for the fast response today, Kyle especially. I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate the openness of this organization. So thank you.
Appreciate it, Steve. Sam? Okay, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item from council?
No, Steve, we appreciate you. We wish there was a couple more citizens that took the time and effort to look through that and understand it, rather than when it's one issue that bugs them enough to come to us or ask us questions. And your questions were spot on. Like we talked about it briefly, like going through this process the last 4 or 5 months at bite-sized pieces, it's easy. And so it's been, some of those questions have been brought up, and the response timing was, they talked about that, and it actually worked out really good to get all those questions answered. But it makes us think, and it's also helpful to have other eyes on it, because more eyes, the things you see in questions, so appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. We usually always wish more people would show up too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, look for a,
I think at this point, you would just close the hearing. and
oh, that's all we need to
we're
do,
not
because
taking
there's
any
no
action.
motion. Okay,
The idea was to give you, if there were comments, to give you time to think about it before you adopt it next meeting.
okay. So this time, we'll move on then to our consent agenda. That was kind of anticlimactic, that feels weird. So, look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agendas as written.
Second.
Motion by Teddy, second by Sherry. Teddy?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. That motion carries. 10.1, discussion and consideration of a request to amend the Herriman City official zoning map for 2.74 acres of property located at 12650 South, 6000 West, and 12664 South, 6000 West, from A143 single-family agricultural to A110 single-family agricultural. Michael?
Good evening and thank you. Just for your information, the applicant is aware of this meeting tonight. He had another meeting. He said he would try and get here. I told him we may get to this item by 7:30, and you're already beating my expectations. So he's not quite here yet, but he said he was comfortable with the council, felt comfortable with making a decision on this item even if he's not in attendance, unless of course you have a question or a concern. I just have a few slides for, let's see, that's not wanting to advance. Yeah. Just as typical, our vicinity map just showing approximately where this is at in our community. Next slide. And the specific parcels, there's 2 that are being requested for a rezone from A143 to A110. Next slide, please. So again, 2 parcels, 1.37 acres each, combined is 2 3/4 acres. The general plan is currently what we call Neighborhood 1. There's several zones that are consistent with the Neighborhood 1, including the A143. That is consistent with the existing future land use map in the general plan. The request, of course, is for the A110, again, another zone that is consistent. The anticipated gross maximum density of this Neighborhood 1 designation is 2.5 units per acre. Obviously, some of those zones would yield fewer units. For example, the A143 that it's currently would be just 1 unit per acre. And then the proposed zone is that A110. The intent or the reason for this request is to facilitate a potential subdivision, taking the 2 lots, potentially creating up to 5 lots. If 5 lots were approved through a subdivision process with the Planning Commission, that would be a density of 1.83 units. You can see that's all consistent with the general plan. Now, just for concept only, this has been shared with the neighbors, the general public. We did a public hearing with the Planning Commission. We expressed some concerns to the applicant about these kind of like a modified or extended hammerhead. We in general, as a city, do like to have stub roads to undeveloped parcels. In this case, we actually have parcels that are already developed around this site. Plus, we were also, thanks to our city manager, thinking about if we don't need the right-of-way to facilitate development, let's try and minimize the infrastructure as much as possible. So we've talked about the idea of shortening these potential street legs with the applicant. Again, that'll all be worked out through the Planning Commission process. As per our city code, we do have 4 standards that the Planning Commission and the council review in considering these requests. It was the Planning Commission's finding that all 4 of these standards were met. And that's detailed in your staff report. Commission held their hearing on May 1st. We did not receive any public comment. The open house, which we still hold, or the community meeting that we still hold for these rezones, was attended by 2 residents. They did not express any concern or opposition to the request. Planning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend the approval to the council.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, any questions, concerns? Sherry?
The only kind of nitpicky concern I have, and it's not necessarily for this one, but maybe as a general rule, I'm sorry, I marked it on my computer, I left it in the other room. Somewhere in our staff report, it talked about that there was still agricultural property to is it the south, right? The south of this property.
Yes, you can see that there's still an A143 parcel.
And so we would require them to put up some vinyl fence, some vinyl privacy fencing because there's agricultural property. I would just reiterate that vinyl fencing is not conducive to agricultural fencing. So maybe when we make those kind of suggestions to property owners, that I guess it depends on the type of agriculture. If they're just mowing hay, a white vinyl would be fine, but if it's agricultural in the use of animals, white vinyl fencing doesn't stop kids, it certainly doesn't stop an animal.
Right, and we do have, and that's a general provision when we have different land uses. As you know, you've experienced that before, but we do have an option for fencing type that is appropriate for large animals. And so, yeah, we will take that into consideration.
Yeah, I'm not sure what type of agriculture is there, but if it's because they have a bunch of horses or something out there, white vinyl fence is not an adequate agricultural fence for livestock.
And the commission does have that option.
Perfect. That was my only concern on it. And I had the same concern when I saw the layouts with the stubs. I'm like, they were a stub to nowhere. They were a stub into somebody else's yard, so it didn't make any sense to me. A redesign
Yeah,
of
and I
cul-de-sacs or
discussed that again with the applicant. We're going to meet with him and our engineering team next week to discuss that more.
Thank you.
I think you're.
Bruce is here, so if you have any questions for the applicant.
Those were my only two concerns, just the stubs and then the ag fence.
I think it's great. Yep, it's kind of the needed property size I think we've been looking for. So. Okay, I'll look for a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-09, amending the Herriman City zoning map for 2.74 acres of property located at 12650 and 12664 South, 6000 West from A143 agricultural to A110 agricultural.
Second.
Motion by Sherry, second by Teddy. Sherry?
Yes.
Teddy?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, that brings us to the end of our meetings tonight. Future meetings, we do have a joint City Council Planning Commission meeting next Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Next Planning Commission meeting is the following Wednesday, the 5th, at 7 o'clock. Our next council meeting will be June 12th at 7 o'clock. A lot of events coming up. We're getting into event season now. A Memorial Day breakfast, Monday morning, 7 o'clock at the Main Street Park. Followed by a Memorial Day ceremony at 9 o'clock where Councilmember Orrin and, I forgot to tell you this, Congressman Owens will be there to speak as well. Hungry Herriman food trucks will still be there Monday night, even though it's Memorial. And then at 5 o'clock, and then the following Monday, we add the kickoff to the farmer's market. So getting into that season. And then, of course, the best weekend of the year, second best. Well, no, it's probably better. It's probably equal best weekend, the rodeo with town days.
By far the best.
I saw Dee this morning. Dee is excited. There's a lot of excitement around the rodeo this year. So the rodeo next 3 days, next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Tickets are selling fast. We're way ahead. They will sell out again this year, so make sure you grab your tickets.
They increase.
And
There's
they
an increase
increase.
that goes in place after this weekend.
Yep. Monday, they increase. So get your tickets this week. Yep. Any other events coming up? Be aware.
Not city stuff, lots of graduation,
Lot of
lots of
graduations.
parades. So if your street's closed down temporarily, wait an hour. So,
Yeah.
yep,
Providence Hall graduation will Friday. Herriman Mountain Ridge next Thursday.
yep.
So congratulations to all our graduates. A lot going on, fun time of year. So, okay, with that, I'll look for a motion to, we need to go to close, so I'll look for, anybody have their little card thing? You want to do it?
I'll make a motion to close city council general meeting and move into, oh, do we have to temporary close? Oh.
Temporary.
Okay. I guess I should read this. I will make a motion to temporary close city council meeting and go into closed meeting for the following purposes as provided by Utah State Code annotated 52-4205. Recess, temporary recess, yeah. What did I say? Close? I will make a motion to temporary recess city council meeting and go into closed meeting for the following purposes as provided by Utah State Code annotated 52-4205. Strategy session to discuss pending or reasonable imminent litigation, strategy session to discuss a purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, discuss proposed development agreement, project proposal, or financing proposal related to the development land owned by the city.
Motion by Teddy, I think. Second by Sherry. Teddy?
Yes.
Sherry? Yes. Oh, well, yes. We will move into closed. We need, who do we need? We will move into the, back to the work. We need Nathan, Wendy,
Michael,
Michael,
Justin, Blake,
Justin, Blake,